My name is Ana Mariela Ramos, and my title currently, I am the co-founder of Colectiva Clara, and I'm also a consulting partner with a local consulting nonprofit. This event is called Areito, and it's modeled after my Taino lineage in the Caribbean. Areitos are places of gathering where people share folklore and tell stories and share the magic and the beauty in the world. And this was actually funded by a grant through the Just Economies Institute to talk about economic justice and spirituality. So this is a celebration of and a reclamation of our ancestral spiritual practices. I am an immigrant from the Dominican Republic, from a small town, a pueblo con Moncion, which is in the northwestern part of the island. I migrated here when I was about 5 to New York, and then came to Philadelphia when my parents were really looking for a way to build generational wealth, to purchase a home, to start a business. Philadelphia was a really good place to do that in the 90s. So I went to Temple and I got a degree in business. I'm grateful for it, and also I hated business school because business school was a complete opposite to the way that I wanted to live my life. So I left business school and I went to work at a nonprofit in Philadelphia, working with entrepreneurs, with bodegueros, which is what my family does. And that's when I realized, oh crap, hold on. Like, the poverty is so extreme and deep in Philadelphia, in Philly, in my communities and other communities, Black and brown communities. And then after 7 years of working there, I realized I don't make enough money to be able to do the things that I want to do, to be able to buy a house, to be able to have a daughter, to be able to pay back student loans. You know, I was really grappling with, this isn't enough for me. The systems that we were trying to change, nobody was talking about access to capital, access to wealth building initiatives for people. Shortly after that, I was really interested in investing, and I have a business background, so I moved to the impact investing world. And that's where I was really able to move capital to these communities that we're talking about. And to me, it is very similar to the way that my family was able to build their businesses and buy their homes. It was through lending to one another, through these lending circles called tandas or sociedad, susu, where you bring a group of people together. It could be weekly or it could be monthly. You put aside some money and then one person gets that. And for them, that's their loan. And the last person, for them, is a savings. And a 0% interest rate is all based on relationships with one another and is based on trust. I was seeing those same models replicated by these large organizations, and I was really excited by that. And I was also really proud, oh, my people do this. This is what we have been doing for so long. This is how we survived. And now academia is noticing it, and these institutions are replicating it. But let's not forget that it's rooted in Black and brown people and Latinos and immigrants who have brought their way of being in economic relationship with one another. They brought that with them here. I really want to stress, especially in this moment, for the Latino community, that we have to have solidarity with other communities that have been struggling in Philadelphia and that will continue to struggle. And it's for me, unless we look around and see the history of the place that we're in and see that our neighbors have been living with these disparities for years or years or years, we won't know to do anything different. We'll keep pointing fingers at one another when really we should be pointing the finger up at our government, our elected officials, and demanding that folks come in and invest in these places. These are all ancestral teachings. The lending circles are ways that my people have been doing this. Buddha teaches us to be self-aware of ourselves and take only what you need. Islam says you cannot charge interest on a loan, and that is something that they hold very dear. And so we replicate this in universities and in institutions, and it's fine to replicate it. I think for me, I wanted to dig deeper and connect it back to the people who have been doing this for a long time. So I learned about liberation theology through the Catholic Church. They were really thinking about poverty in South America and the root causes of poverty. I learned about the year of Jubilee in the Old Testament, where they were talking about every 7 years you free your enslaved people, you forgive all debts, and you give them enough to start a life elsewhere. So it's this idea of reparations, right? That it takes us, it seems like it's such a complex thing for people to understand why the importance of reparations, when we've been taught about reparations for a very long time. Our people have done it. I had this coach, Hassani Reyes, she's based out of New York, and she told me, Ana, as Caribbeans, we are fragmented people. We come from an indigenous lineage, we come from West African traditions, some of us from European lineages, so we are fragments of many pieces. And when she said that to me, it gave me the permission to accept it. And I think my spirituality reflects that so nicely. When I think about the ways that I have been able to live out and stay true to my West African ancestors, is through spirituality. It's through palo and music and drumming and certain colors that you wear and certain necklaces that you use. And when I think about my indigenous background, it is through the shamanic practices that people have been able to continue practicing under Catholicism. But my spirituality is important to me because it is the thing that I can say, wow, all of these people fought so hard to maintain these traditions, and I see myself in them, and I'm accepted in them, and I can be myself fully when I embody those traditions. For me, economic justice and spirituality can work nicely together because the teachings, sometimes, in the examples that I have found, are very similar. You take care of the earth, you don't exploit the resources, you don't take more than what you need, you forgive debt, you give people enough to start over. Like, for me, it's very important to simplify. Why do we have to care about economic injustice? Well, we've been taught for thousands of years that the way that we build community and grow is growing together and caring for one another. And when you have an economy that wants to extract our labor as immigrants, pay us less, I think we really need to find our own solutions for the ways that we want to move within this world. And I think our ancestral teachings are a good way to start that reminder. As long as you have community, you're unstoppable.